to study about the Book of Job. Pinamagatan po natin itong Job, the problem of pain, suffering, and providence. Natanong nyo na ba sa puso nyo o narinig nyo na ba yung tanong na bakit kaya ang mga mabubuting tao ay nakakaranas ng mga masasamang bagay? O why do good people suffer or even experience bad things in life? Naitanong nyo na ba yun sa inyong sarili? Yung bang maganda naman ang ginagawa mo o wala kang mang ginagawang masama, but eventually you were able to experience to suffer even though ang ginawa mo ay kabutihan. So ayan po yung theme actually ng Book of Job. We are going to somewhat like we'll be able to see and try to answer why do good people suffer or even experience bad things. So ayan po ang Book of Job. As an introduction, makikita natin ang libro po ng Job from the beginning, actually a very short story, but eventually halos yung buong libro niya ay it's all about actually a quest of trying to find an answer why there is pain and why people suffer in spite of being good. Nakuha nyo? So, just like us, life is full of pain and questions that sometimes we cannot answer, right? Now, the Book of Job actually will help us understand how a person who deeply loves the Lord have gone through an intense suffering but still remain faithful in spite of this suffering kahit wala naman siyang ginawa talagang masama. Now, this story is going to challenge us to trust God more and to the wisdom of God so that we'll be able to succeed whatever sufferings that we may be facing. And ang key verse nito, yung sinabi ni Job, this is one of the classic words of Job. Sabi ni Job, though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. Job chapter 13 verse 15. Sabi niya, kahit patayin niya pa ako, magtitiwala ako sa kanya. Yun ang sabi ni Job. Now, tingnan natin yung background para mas maintindihan natin yung Book of Job. Well, most of the Bible scholars say that the author of Job o yung sumulat na Job, hindi talaga sinabi. Hindi mo mababasa yan or you cannot find it anywhere in the Bible. But some scholars possibly said na malamang ang nagsulat nito si Job mismo or maaring si Moses din daw, no? Pero wala talagang sinabi kung sino. Now, ang date nito na nasulat around 2000 to 1800 BC. This was actually even the time before the patriarchs. Kaya sa aklat ng Job, wala kang makikitang mga batas or even the law of Moses kasi nga ito. Okay. Now, ang setting nito ay land of Uz. Sinearch ko kung saan yung Uz, maari nasa East Jordan daw ito, pero some other scholars sabi nila baka nasa Southern Jordan. Pero ang isang malinaw dito, this is outside Israel. At ang literature o ang type of literature, yung pagkakasulat mismo ng libro ng Job, you will see it that it's written in poetry. Pero kasama ito actually sa tinatawag na wisdom book. Ang wisdom book po, binubuo yan ng Jobs, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, tsaka Song of Solomon. Ayun po yung Book of Wisdom. Now, the whole book actually is somewhat like giving us a picture of the mystery of human suffering and how God's righteousness is seen even in the midst of suffering. So yan po yung Book of Job. Now, may mga trivia akong sasabihin sa inyo dito patungkol sa Book of Job. Una, ang libro ng Job actually is the oldest book in the Bible. This is even older than Genesis. Meaning to say yung Genesis, later part na siya sinulat. Mas naunang naisulat na libro ang Book of Job. So yeah, so many scholars believe that it was actually possibly written even during the time of Abraham, mga around 2000 BC. At nakakatuwa kasi meron siyang parallel writings, although this is extra biblical, na seemingly like yung story parang katulad ng kay Job. Nakuha nyo. So during that time, you will also see na at least in the book of Job, it reflects actually, kasi dito wala siyang na-mention na Israeli, pangalan ng Israel, hindi na-mention yung anumang batas ni Moses o anumang pari. So most probably, sabi ng mga scholars, ito ay naisulat during the time of Abraham. Pangalawa, yung buong libro ng Job is mostly written in poetry. Meaning to say, sa Tagalog, parang patula siya. Nakuha nyo? Patula siya. So, nag-i-start yan sa chapter 3 hanggang 41. May konting portion na kwento o story o historical ang approach sa chapter 1 and 2. Tapos, yung pagtatapos. No? Kasi, kung mapapansin nyo, yung chapter 1 and 2, those are stories. Tapos, yung huli, 42, 43, ay story, pakwento uli. Ngayon, ang tawag doon sandwich. Nasa sandwich siya, yung pinaka nasa gitna is meticulously written in Hebrew poetry. Napakagandang pagkakasulat. Lalo na kung isa kang Hebreo, makikita mo, sinandwich talaga siya. And so therefore, nando nakapaloob yung pinaka damdami ng kwento. Okay? Now, sa story, si Job was a very rich man at the very beginning of the story before his trial, before he suffered many difficulties in life. Makikita natin na si Job, pinakamayaman siya sa buong silangan. In fact, ang pagkaka-picture doon, he had thousands of animals and many servants. Job chapter 1 verse 3. Now, after his testing, yung kung gaano karami yung kanyang kayamanan, dinoble ng Panginoon. Akala nyo? Job chapter 42 verse 10, you will see that. So that also tells us that Job was a significant figure during his time. He is actually the wealthiest person ever recorded during his time. Now, during his trial, you will never see any words that cursed Job against God. Hindi siya nagsalita ng masama, hindi niya sinumpa, hindi siya nagsabi ng bagay na hindi makaluluwalhati sa Panginoon. Despite losing everything, his children, wealth, and health, Job never cursed God even when urged by his wife. Dumating sa point actually na yung kanyang asawa, in-encourage na siya. Sabi niya, sumpain mo ng Diyos mo at mamatay ka. Pero si Job, he never cursed God. Now, this is the summary of the book. Okay? Sa chapter 1 and 2, tawag natin dyan prologue, meaning to say that's the introduction of the book. You will see Job's righteousness, pinuri ng Panginoong Diyos si Job, tapos challenge ni Satan, and eventually we saw how Satan started to inflict suffering against the body of Job. So ano nangyari doon? Well, nagkaroon ng meeting sa langit, di ba? Yun ang mababasa niyo sa chapter 1. You will see the angels are coming before the presence of God. And interestingly, one of the angels who came in that meeting is Satan or Lucifer, Si Lucifer, Satan. Eventually, God asked Satan, kumusta ka? Saan ka galing? Sabi niya, nagpagala-gala doon, mga parito, paroon. Sabi ni God, nakita mo ba si Job, ang aking tapat na lingkod? At doon nagsimula, Sabi ni Satan, kaya lang naman tapat yan sa'yo kasi binibless mo siya lagi, blah blah blah. And so therefore, sabi ni God, sige, di kunin mo yung blessing sa kanya. Then after that, another meeting came. Tinanong na naman ni God si Satan, sabi niya, nakita mo ba ang lingkod ko? Tapat na lingkod na si Job. Eto na naman, ang accused na naman si Satan. Sabi niya, kaya lang naman siya, kaya ka naman niya pinupuri at hindi ka na kinukurse kasi maganda kasi ang kalusugan niya That's my paraphrase. Maayos naman ang kanya. Sabi niya, sige, wag mo lang kukunin ang kanyang buhay. And so therefore, doon nagsimula actually yung battle ni Job against suffering. So you will notice there's actually happening in the heavenlies. Job was actually living a peaceful life. In fact, very righteous because he was actually even yung mga anak niya, pag nagpa-party sila kinabukasan nun, siya agad, mag-o-offer siya sacrifice kahit hindi niya nakita nagkasala para alam mo yun, sabi niya baka na-offend nila sa kanilang pagkakasayahan si God, and so therefore Job was actually offering, for his family. And so therefore, Job was actually living a righteous life. And eventually, in the heavenlies, there was actually we call it, spiritual battle. This is the first inscription in the Bible where Satan is doing his quote-unquote olden job. And he is what? He is the accuser of the brethren. So ina-accuse niya yung mga binanal ng Panginoon at sa harap ng Panginoong Diyos humihingi siya ng permiso para sila ay inflictan ng suffering. Of course, Job was a very special person because God was actually looking upon Job. In fact, pinagmalaki niya pa nga kay Satan. Nakita mo ba yung aking niya? And so therefore, Satan started to challenge God as if saying, kaya lang naman ganyan yan dahil binibless mo. And so the spiritual battle begins. No? So Satan appears an accuser in heaven. In Job chapter 1 to 2, you'll be able to see that he was standing before God to accuse Job. Nyo? Kasi nasabi niya nga, kaya lang naman naglilingkod yan kasi binibless mo. Diba? Minsan, napapaisip din talaga tayong gano'n, kaya tayo mag-serve para i-bless. Pero actually, even beyond that, God is actually blessing us. So, you will see it here, defected talaga, makikita mo in the very earliest and clearest picture that Satan's role, he is an accuser. No? Now, in chapter 3 to chapter 31, you will begin to read the lament. Ano yung lament? Yung panaghoy o yung iyak o yung lungkot na dinanas ni Job dahil nga sa lahat. Namatay ang kanyang mga anak, namatay ang kanyang mga alipin, namatay ang lahat ng kanyang mga alagang hayop, lahat ng ari-arian. Totally, he was devastated. Yung tanging natirang tao sa kanya na sana ay masasandigin niya at para mahanapan ng lakas, yung asawa pa, mismo nagsabi na, sumpain mo na ang Diyos mo at mamatay ka na. Dito makikita niyo yun. And so, he started actually saying, naku, gusto kong makausap ang Diyos. Kung pwede ko lang iharap sa Kanya yung aking kaso, makikipagkatuwiran ako sa Kanya. Job was actually very, very confident to say his case na wala akong ginawang masama sa Panginoong Diyos. Eventually, pumunta yung mga kaibigan niya. He has 3 friends. Ang intention sana ng mga kaibigan dapat ay to comfort, magbigay kasi nung dumating ilang araw pa silang hindi nagsalita kasi hindi nila alam kung anong sasabihin nila and they were actually observing Job. Pero nung nagsalita sila throughout the dialogue, may 3 set ng dialogue ito Magsasalita yung unang kaibigan, tapos i-rebat ni Job. Magsasalita yung isang kaibigan, i-rebat na naman ni Job. Hanggang 3 yan. Throughout the entire chapter, palitan sila. At imbis na makapagdulot sila ng comfort, ang naidulot pa nila kay Job ay accusation. They were actually accusing Job na, Job, kaya ka nakakaranas ng ganyan, kaya mo naranasan lahat yan dahil ikaw ay nagkasala, gumawa ka ng masama. Kung hindi ka gumawa ng masama, hindi ka dapat na ganyan. And so therefore, parang sinasabi nila, this is actually the very natural thing that comes to our mind, na ang suffering ay dulot ng kasalanan natin. Di ba yung ganyan? Kaya nagkasakit yan kasi ganito, nagkasala siya sa Panginoon. Di ba? In fact, nadala yan ng mga tao even during the time of Jesus, yung kanyang mga alagad, nung nakita nila yung isang lumpo, sabi niya, sino po nagkasala? Siya ba o yung mga magulang nila? Kadalasan kasi ini-equate natin tayo sa kasalanan yung suffering. Pero I tell you, there are sufferings that are not directly related to sin. At ito, yung 3 to, panay ang accusation nila. Ang suggestion ko sa inyo is that you listen sa audio. At itong 3 to, magagandang sinasabi nila. Kung titingnan mo, parang makadiyos talagang napakagagandang advice. Pero lahat ng yun, sabi ni Job, mali kayo, hindi yan tama. Ako ay walang kasalanan sa harap ng Panginoong Diyos. And sabi niya, kung mahaharap ko lang ang Panginoong Diyos at matatanong ko siya, bakit ako nakaranas ng ganito? Now, so Job's friend had mixed motives. Supposedly, ang pangalan nila ay si Eliphaz, si Bildad, at si Zophar. They came to comfort him, but instead of comforting him, they were actually accusing him of sinning against God. Now, another man came by the name of Elihu, a younger person. This person spoke with humility and with insights of God's justice actually. Etong si Elihu, mas parang nakapagsalita pa. Although mas bata siya dun sa tatlo, nakapagsalita ng may sense. So a younger man defends God's justice and he was actually calling Job to humble down. Alam mo kung bakit? Kasi si Job, nung nagsasalita siya, he was so confident na wala talaga akong nagawang kasalanan at gusto kong makipagpalitan ng paliwanag sa Diyos. Kung meron lang, sabi niya nga kung meron lang mamamagitan sa amin ng Diyos at ako. Sabi niya, gusto ko siyang makausap at gusto kong sabihin sa kanya lahat ng aking mga hinaing, lahat ng kanyang nasa isip. Pero sabi ni Elijah, hindi, sabi niya, dapat magpakumbaba ka sa Panginoong Diyos. So, at the end, so verse 32 to 37, si Elijah nagsalita. Sa 38 to 41, ang Diyos ay nagsalita. Nagsalita siya through the storm. No, ang Panginoong Diyos, nagsalita siya. Marami siyang pinakita kay Job for him to realize na God is so mysterious and what's happening to us actually has reasons. May reason, may dahilan at hindi natin pwedeng hindi natin pwedeng sisihin ang Diyos. Kahit magkaminsan, yung kondisyon natin sa buhay, hindi natin tanggap o hindi natin gusto. As if God is the one bringing us suffering everything. So, nagsalita ang Diyos kay Job. And when he spoke actually nature, he illustrated a lot of powerful and mighty creatures actually. And eventually at the end, na-realize si Job, nakita niya how lofty and powerful is the wisdom of God. And so, finally, nung nagsalita si God, ang unang-unang sinabi ni God sa kanya, nasaan ka ba? Job 38 verse 4. Sabi niya, nasaan ka ba? Nasaan ka ba nung aking inihanda ang pundasyon ng mundo? Siyempre, ang sagot. Anong sagot? Wala po akong alam. Sa lahat ng tanong ng Panginoon, ang sagot niya, wala akong alam. And so therefore, it actually revealed to Job that there are really things in life that you will not be able to understand, but instead wait for God to speak to us. So therefore chapter 42, yun yung pinaka-epilogue, meaning to say, kasi pag may prologue, may epilogue. Yung epilogue, yan naman yung after that, actually, nung pag-uusap nila, God asked Job to pray for his ni-review kasi yung tatlong magkakaibigan They were not doing actually the work excellently. Instead of comforting Job, they were accusing him. So, humingi ng tawad, nagpakumbaba si Job at ipinag-pray niya yung kanyang mga kaibigan. And so therefore, after that, ang nangyari, God restored Job and he actually gave back his wealth double. Hindi lang yun, binigyan pa siya uli ng maraming anak. At his glorious life was brought back. Binigyan siya ng magagandang anak. Nakita niya pa yung mga apo niya. In fact, in the study, nakita niya pa yung fourth generation. So Job actually lived a long life even after his trials. What happened? God restored Job's fortune and gave him 10 more children. At alam niyo kung ilang taon siya nabuhay, he lived 140 more years, and even so, 4 generation of his descendants. Grabe, nakita niya yung anak niya, apo sa tuhod. Ano ba yung pakatapos sa apo sa tuhod? Apo sa talampakan. So he was able to see. Yung lahat ng suffering niya, parang pinapatan ng Panginoong Diyos ng blessing. Because he remained faithful even in the midst of suffering. You will if you're going to read the whole book of Job, talagang hindi niya sinumpa, hindi siya nagkasala, but he was very, very honest to himself about his feelings. Sinabi niya talaga, Panginoon, malungkot ako, masama ang loob ko. He was actually pouring out his feeling and he was actually demanding an explanation. And God showed up. Ang Panginoon nangusap sa kanya, and he got his explanation. But after that, when God revealed himself to him, what was his reaction? He humbled himself. Nagpakumbaba siya matapos siyang marinig yung sinabi ng Panginoon sa kanya. But God restored him to his glorious day. Even doubled, no? Dinoble pa yung lahat ng blessing na nawala sa kanya. So Job is a part of the Bible's, we call it wisdom literature. Palagay nyo, kasi ito, I believe this is actually God's orchestration. Plinano talaga ng Panginoon na ang Job mailagay sa kahilera ng awit, kawikaan, Ecclesiastes sa Song of Solomon. Ano ba yung mga librong yun? You will notice, ang awit is a book of praise. Ang Proverbs is a book of wisdom, right? Ecclesiastes actually is remembering God. At Song of Solomon is actually a song about a lover. Of course, God is our lover and we are the one being tawag nito, tayo yung pinupurso ni God. Pero you will notice, bago nag-Psalms, ang nilagay is a book about suffering. So what does it tell you? Psalms is a book of praise. Proverbs is a book of wisdom. Basically, sabi nga dito, ito ay nakalagay. Actually, kasama siya sa section ng wisdom literature. If you're going to ask me, what does it tell me? It tells me that suffering actually makes us wise. Ano? Yeah, suffering makes us wise. During the time of Job's suffering, he actually was able to reflect on life and he asked hard questions. Hard questions such as, bakit ganito? Bakit nangyari to sa akin? Nakikinig ba talaga si God? Naka nyo? He was not ashamed to ask hard questions. And he got answers from God. Naka nyo? So, mag-reflect tayo sa buhay natin. Tayo, sa mga sufferings natin, you know what? It's okay to ask God hard questions. But be very, very careful to ask in humility. Naka nyo? Si Job, hindi niya kailanman sinisi, kinurse, o sino pa ang Diyos. But instead, he put out his emotion. Actually, sa book ng Psalms, sa book of Psalms, you will see people, they were actually pouring out their emotions to God. If they are angry, they are saying, Lord, I'm angry. If they are despaired, whatever feelings they are actually. Alam nyo, there was a time in my life when I felt so down. That was one actually of the darkest part of my life when I was, teenager. And alam niyo, during the time when I was so down, I read about the whole book of Psalms. Parang yung nasa gitna ako ng malalim na problema, parang lahat ng binabasa ko sa Salmo, parang yun yung damdamin ko. So that's actually one of the characters of wisdom literature. You will see authentic feelings and emotions being exposed or expressed. And I tell you, God is not surprised. Hindi siya nasusurpresa sa mga damdamin natin. At kayang i-contain ng Panginoon ano man ang damdamin natin. God can manage to listen to us, even to our pains, to our whatever sufferings it is. Now, trivia number 10. In Job, it teaches actually one of the deepest truths of faith. Grabe yung pananampalataya ni Job. Sabi niya sa Job chapter 19 verse 25, sabi niya, even when he couldn't understand why he was suffering, Job declared, sabi niya, I know, sabi niya, kahit ano pa man nangyayari, hindi ko naiintindihan to nangyari sa buhay ko, pero one of his declarations, sabi niya, I know, sabi niya, alam ko, ang aking manunubos ay nabubuhay. My Redeemer lives. Grabe. It was a declaration of faith. So, what are the main lessons and principles that you and I can learn from this? I would like to share some. Number 1, faith does not prevent suffering. Ano ibig sabihin yan, mga kapatid? Mga kapatid, hindi ibig sabihin na may pananampalataya tayo, hindi na tayo makakaranas ng mga kahirapan o pagdurusa. Baka may nagsabi sa inyo na kapag na-born again ka na, wala ka ng problema. May mga ganun yung, pag na kay Jesus ka na, lahat ng problem mo, wala na. Mga kapatid, I'm sorry to tell you, hindi totoo. Ang pagiging nasa Panginoon actually ay pagiging handa na tayo ay sumuong sa mga pagsubok. Faith does not prevent us from suffering. No? Job was blameless and upright, yet he suffered terribly, right? So being faithful to God doesn't mean we are exempted from trials. Baka may nagsasabi sa inyo, Lord, bakit gano'n? Nakakaranas ako ng problema. Nagli-lead naman ako ng D-group. Lord, ano naman ako faithful naman ako sa pagta-tithes. Nagsisimba naman kami linggo-linggo. Pag ang kaisipan kasi ganun kababaw, tapos nakaranas ka ng pagsubok, so ano mangyayari? You will think na pag nakaranas ka ng pagsubok, galit sa iyo ang Panginoon. No! Suffering, listen to this, suffering is actually part of life. Nakuha nyo? Why? Bakit mahalaga yung suffering sa buhay natin? Kasi ang suffering is actually, sabi nga ng Bible, it's like a furnace, no? Gold is actually being purified. Saan? Sa apoy. Like a test of gold in fire, Job's faith was tested and purified. Bakit nga ba tayo pinapadaan sa suffering? Para nga ma-purify. May isa akong nabasang write-ups about sa paggawa ng gold o pag-purify ng gold tsaka ng silver. Yung yung silversmith o yung goldsmith, binabantayan lagi nila yung pag-purify ng gold or even ng silver. Tapos ang silver daw, parang may point talaga siya na hindi dapat siya masobran sa init. Tapos tinatanong niya, paano malalaman kung purified na yung silver or even ang gold? Alam mo yung sagot ng silversmith o kaya ng goldsmith? Sabi niya, when I start to see my image in that gold, that's it. The gold is purified. Paano raw malalaman na ang gold ay purified na? Kapag nakita niya na yung image niya. Just like us, mga kapatid, God allows suffering, God allows trials and problems into our life to purify us so that God's image will be seen in us. So when trouble comes, don't ask, why me, God? Pag may problema tayo, huwag sabihin, Panginoon, bakit ako? Hindi dapat daw ganun. Kundi dapat ang tanong, pag may suffering, Panginoon, ano ang itinuturo mo sa akin? What are you teaching me? What are you trying to purify in my character? So faith does not prevent suffering. Suffering is actually a natural thing that happens to us. So be ready. Pangalawa, suffering reveals the depth of our faith. Yung kasaganaan, gustong-gusto natin yan right? Yung pagsagana tayo, masaya tayo, praise God, nagpapasalamat tayo. Pero alam nyo, ang suffering, ibang klase. Ang suffering, ipinapakita talaga nito kung gaano kalalim yung pananampalataya natin sa Panginoon. Katulad nung asawa ni Job, nung dumating yung suffering, ano sabi niya? Kay Job, curse God and die. Pero sabi ni Job, no! Shall we accept good from God and not trouble? Grabe yung kanyang lalim ng pananampalataya niya. Sabi niya, tatanggap lang ba tayo ng blessing sa Panginoon tapos hindi ng problema? Sabi niya, no, I'm not going to curse my God. Good and even bad, we will receive it from God, thanking Him. So, application nito, our response to suffering should show that we truly believe God. Sa kabila ng ating mga kahirapan, pagsubok, dapat ang maging tugon natin yung mas malalim na pagtitiwala na hindi alam ng Panginoon ang pinagdadaanan ko at kahit may pinagdadaanan akong ganito, hindi ko siya tatalikuran but I will trust in Him. So, ang tanong ito, do we really trust God only? Even sometimes, wala tayong nararamdaman o nakitang blessing. Even sometimes, ang nararamdaman natin, pain. So, suffering reveals the depth of our faith. Pangatlo, God's wisdom is greater than human understanding. May mga bagay tayong naiintindihan. Nakuha tayo. May mga bagay tayong alam na pag-aralan, pero may mga bagay tayo na kailangan nating sangguniin ng Panginoon. Lalo na sa panahon na kung saan hindi natin naiintindihan o hindi kaya ng logic natin. Nakanyo, in Job chapter 38 verse 1-4, God reminds Job that his ways are beyond human comprehension. Nung sinabi niya yung mga, nandito ka na ba kung paano ko tinayo ang mundong ito? Nakanyo, just like a child may not understand why a doctor gives a painful injection, yet it's for healing. So, how are we going to apply this one? So, when we cannot trace God's hand, trust His heart. Yung bang sa gitna ng nangyayari sa atin, saan ba si God dito ngayon? Like, halimbawa, bakit nangyari yung lindol sa Cebu tsaka sa Davao? Maraming namatay ngayon. Gera sa Gaza. Dalhin na lang natin sa pamilya natin. Bakit nangyari? kinuha si tatay, kinuha si nanay, na kung saan yung mga kapatid niyo maliliit pa o kayo ay parang silang inaasahan niyo, sila pa yung nawala. Bakit kung kailangan niyo yung financial breakthrough, doon wala yung inaasahan yung income o kaya doon bumagsak yung negosyo niya. Mga ano yun no? Unexplainable condition. Even in the midst of that, we have to, ito na, kung hindi natin nakikita daw ang pagkilos ng kamay ng Diyos sa ating pamilya, sa ating trabaho, sa ating business, kung hindi man natin nakikita ang kanyang kamay, pagtiwalaan natin ang puso ng Diyos. Kasi ang puso ng Diyos, hindi siya magbabago. His heart is always for you and me. Saka niya, ang pagmamahal niya hindi nagbabago, ang pagkalinga niya, ang gusto niyang mangyari sa atin na magandang buhay. So, if you cannot trace His hand, trust His heart. Ito nagkabaliktad to. Number 4, repentance and humility bring restoration. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Job chapter 42 verse 1 to 6. When Job started to confess his limited understanding of God and of the things that he actually experiencing in his life, he humbled himself. Nagpakumbaba siya. Inamin niya, Panginoon, oo nga po, maliit lang yung aking kaalaman, kakaunti ang aking pangunawa. Nagpakumbaba siya na kanya. Pinasakop niya ang sarili niya sa Panginoon. So how are we going to apply this in our life? So when we humble ourselves and trust God, trust His purpose, trust His heart, trust His character, that is actually going to give us an inner peace. And eventually, we will see the hand of God restoring us. And I tell you, God is even able to give you double of what has gone. Yung mga nawala. Kaya niyang doblehin, ibalik. Naka niya, praise God. So, God rewards faithfulness. Yeah, that's one of the lesson. In Job chapter 42 verse 10 to 12, you will be able to read that. Ano nangyari? Ni-restore ni God yung fortune ni Job. He even doubled it. Naka niya. So, anong application sa atin yan? Stay faithful in trials. Why? Because God sees your tears. Sabi nga ng aklat ng awit, yung mga luha daw natin ay iniipon ng Panginoong Diyos. Sa isang talata sa King James, nilalagay daw sa botelya. Nakanya. And so God sees our tears, and in His time, He is going to bring beauty again out of every pain. Out of whatever pain that you are experiencing. God rewards faithfulness. Nakanya. So, what practical application can we apply learning from the principles of Job? Summarize ko lang 4. Number 1, when facing problems, pray before you complain. Nakanya. Mas madali sa atin ang mag-complain kasi pag may problema tayo, mas madaling mainis, mas madaling magpahayag ng pagkadismaya, galit. Pero kasi ang Diyos hindi sumasagot sa pagkainis Hindi siya sumasagot sa galit o pagko-complain. God answers in humility. God answers in humble prayer. So when you face problem, compose yourself, collect yourself, then pray. Instead of complaining, pray. Number 2, encourage others who are suffering. Do not judge like Job's friend. Sa ating buhay, may mga kakilala tayo o may mga idadalhin ang Diyos sa ating buhay na mga nakakaranas din ng mga pagsubok. Pwede po ba? Huwag natin silang husgahan. Baka ang ilan sa atin magsabi na kaya ka nakakaranas ng ganyan kasi nagkasala ka. May narinig na akong ganyan. Huwag natin silang husgahan. Let's encourage them to stay, to remain faithful in the midst of suffering. Nakanya. Number 3, remember, God is not punishing us or punishing you. He is perfecting you. Okay? Kapag nakakaranas ka ng mga pagsubok, ng trials, ng pain, ng suffering, God is not punishing you. There are may mga punishment talaga pag may ginawang kasalanan. Totoo yun, namamalo siya. Pero paano kung wala? So, do not think that He is still punishing you. He is actually perfecting you. Why? Because He is actually doing things to improve our character. Nakuha niya? So, through sufferings actually gives us lessons. lessons na mga halaga. Yung mga lessons ko sa buhay nanggaling sa mga pains and sufferings eh. Number 4, keep your faith and integrity even when life seems unfair. Ano ibig sabihin yan? Kadalasan kasi dito pumapasok din ang demonyo. Pag parang nararamdaman natin na parang dehado na tayo parang lugi na kami, parang hirap na kami, o parang yun yung panahon na pwede na nating i-justify yung mga bagay na mali. 'Di ba? Parang ang dali nang i-justify kasi nahihirapan tayo. Pero no, keep your faith and integrity even when life seems unfair. Kahit parang ang buhay ay hindi patas sa ating buhay, no, manatili pa rin tayong tapat. Why? Because eventually, you will experience your breakthrough. Naman yan. For now, if you are experiencing pain and suffering, allow that in your life. And by the way, do not waste the lesson learned during the time of sufferings and pain. Ang ilan sa inyo may pain sa relationships. Ang ilan sa inyo may pain sa unmet goals. Yung bang meron kang gustong maabot pero hindi mo naabot. Ang ilan may sufferings and pain sa trabaho, sa business, yung iba sa relationship. But you know what? Even in the midst of all of this suffering, God has a great plan for you and me. So conclusion, when facing problem, pray before complaining. Encourage others who are suffering. Remember, God is not punishing you. Keep your faith and integrity in times of suffering. So yun lang po, actually maiksi lang ito kasi actually ang mahaba talaga sa Book of Job ay yung discussions ni Job sa nung kanyang mga kaibigan. Pero definitely the Book of Job is about understanding suffering even in the midst of what's happening, still trusting God. I put here 4 questions na pwedeng pag-usapan, mga kapatid.